Oh man, I gotta clean this up. We gotta make a video. All right, that looks better. Hey guys, so today I want to introduce you to Bluetti's AC240. This is the industry first IP65 rated device. What that means is it's going to give you protection against water and dust. I also have their B210. This is going to be a battery expansion pack that is going to bond up with the AC240. So what you get in the AC240 is this is an all-in-one unit. You have AC in and out, you have DC out, DC in, you have your MPPT solar charge controller. You could pretty much do everything with this unit and not have to worry about any type of wiring, fuses, anything like that. Everything's already pre-built in a nice, neat package. So with this, you get 2,400 watts of AC output. You also get 3,600 watts of lifting power. That is going to be for a high inductive load. Like if you were to switch on an air conditioner or something like that, you have the ability for this to take the surge. The AC240 also has 2,200 watts of AC input ability, and it can do 1,200 watts of solar input. So if you need to charge this quickly, you can do so. So in the box, you get the unit, plus you get a carrying bag. We also get a power cable. Now this is going to be obviously from the device into your wall. And the gauge on this wire is, this is a 14 gauge wire. So we have a 14 gauge wire to go to the wall, XT60 to Anderson connector. Let's look at the device and we'll see where this goes in a little bit. We also have a proprietary port to a XT60 connection as well. And again, we have a proprietary port up to MC4 connectors for the solar. And for the B210, we also get a carrying bag. We get a proprietary connection up to an MC4. So that's interesting. That means that this has its own built-in charge controller. So you can hook a separate array up to this battery expansion pack. We're going to look at that in a little bit. And we also get the connection port for the battery connection to the actual 240 unit here. On the side of the unit here is the battery connection for the expansion battery. I'm going to put that here. And on this side here, we also have another port for a battery expansion. And we also have another port to connect up to a second battery or a third or fourth, however much power you're going to need. Ooh, that's nice. So actually, that's a good improvement. So there's actually a divot in the top of this unit here, which allows this to sit in and kind of be more sturdy. That's a very good design. Okay, and sticking to the color coding, that snaps in. Now let's put a bend in the cable to keep it tucked in. Okay, and we are locked in. Okay, let's go ahead and turn on the device. God, I love the displays on these Bluettis. So you can see there we have 62%. We're in eco mode, and the battery expansion turned on its own because I had turned this on. So that's good. Now let's connect to the app. So here on the home screen, you can see I actually already have the AC200L, which on a side note, this unit has been running fantastic. Now what I like to use on this is the time controlled UPS. And you can see here I have it set from 20 to 80%. And then I have it on a schedule for peak hours of use. So it'll come on during the day, and then at night it'll just run through on the grid. And I also have PV hooked up, which helps save some money too. So let's go back over and we're going to click on my devices. We're going to add a device manually or scan. And on the back of the unit, there's a QR code. It may automatically auto-populate for you, but looks like for me, I'm going to have to scan it. And you're going to run through. I'm not going to show you connecting to Wi-Fi because you'll see my password and username. But you just run through the prompts, and then here you go. You get your home screen. So let's hook up some charging. So for the charging to hook to grid, we just have this plug that plugs right into the unit under AC input and just simply plug it in. So straight out of the box, you can see we're getting 814 watts-ish of charging. Now if you want to increase this, charging mode, and then we can hit turbo. So now that we've hit turbo, it'll ramp up to the full capability of this charging cord. If you want the full, I believe it's 2,200 watts of input, then you need to buy, there's another cable you can buy that's a thicker gauge in order to engage that full charging, fast charging. But for now, 1.4 kilowatts or 1,398 watts on the display. So that's incredibly fast charging. I would only recommend using that under certain scenarios where you want to have this charge quickly, like there's a natural disaster or something that's coming and you need the power on standby. So I would just recommend keeping it on standard mode and just charge it regularly. Okay, now let's take a closer look at the 240 and the 210 here. So we have the power button, we have our DC, 12 volt up to 10 amps, and that's going to be a cigarette socket. And here we have a 12 volt up to 30 amps, and this is going to be with the plug that goes to the XT60, and you can also go from XT60 to Anderson connector if you want to combine these two cables together. We also have a USB-C 100 watt times 2 and a USB-A 18 watts times 2. And to turn all these on, you just simply push the buttons on the unit, or you can actually do it through the app. Over here on the AC side, we have two 20 amp receptacles, and we also have a TT30 type receptacle in order to plug your trailer directly into the unit itself. On the battery expansion, we have one USB-C and one USB-C-A, 100 watts and 18 watts. And then we also have another 12 volt 10 amp cigarette style socket. And looking at the side of the unit, we have a ground screw. We have a bleed off valve, which you can unscrew. If there's any water buildup inside your unit, you can bleed it off here. We also have a DC/PV input, 11 volts to 60 volts, up to 21 amps for 1,200 watt max of PV or DC input. And that is done through this plug here, which is done by the provided MC4 cable. Here we have an AC parallel port. If you want to put more of these units to get more wattage output, you can connect the units together here. And we also have the AC input for charging grid tie selection. On the battery expansion, we have a DC/PV input, so another charge controller in this battery bank for 11 volts to 60 volts, 10 amp for 500 watt max of PV charging, and another bleed off valve. And we already discussed the connection between the main unit and the battery expansion port through this nice thick cable here. Okay, we are 100% charged up. As you can see there, we're charged up, so let's put a heavy load right on it right away and see what happens. So here I have a TT30 plug. This is pretty standard on every trailer. This is the way you're going to plug into shore power. So let's see what happens when we plug it in. So we're going to turn the AC on and just plug it straight in. Okay, now my load is going to slowly increase. So here it goes here. And you can see here on the hour meter, this is our estimated time as per the load. So let's see what that does. So you can see there, and our hour gauge is starting to go down because we're putting a pretty heavy load onto it. Okay, that's a pretty good load there, 2,330. So let's leave that run for a few minutes. Let's see what the cooling fans sound like when they come on. They should come on shortly. So we have 1.3 hours on here, and that is going to be our time at current load. So we're now at 2,380, kind of bouncing around a little bit, but this is a high load, and the fans haven't turned on just yet. At least if they have, actually they have, I can feel a little bit of heat coming out. My fan on the inverter that's taking the load is louder than this fan here. Wow, that is so quiet. These fans are incredibly quiet. I can't even hear them. Let's try overloading this. So I'm going to turn on lift mode, which is powerlifting mode. Okay, and powerlifting mode is on. Well, the fans just came on a little bit louder. That's going to overload it. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we overloaded the AC. Okay, there we go. I just pushed the button, and I think that re-engaged the AC. I hear my load starting back up again. So you can hear the fans right now. About 60 here. Here we have about 56. So about 56 decimals 2 feet away. And the fan's on high right now. Okay, and you can see my load is starting back up again. This is about 16,000 watts for this heat gun. So the fact that it ran my load at 2,384 plus 1,600, and it ran it for a good few, like probably 30 seconds before it conked out. At least it felt like 30 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna let this run for a little while. I'll be right back. And we are now down to 75%. So I think that's good enough. All right, and we have 75% discharge. So I discharged 25% of the overall capacity at max AC. No hiccups, the fans were quiet, everything performed the way it should. Now this is gonna wrap it up for this video. Check out this brand new IP65 rated system. I'll leave links in the description. I'm gonna do later future testing. We're gonna take it out, spray it with the hose, throw some dust on it, what have you, and test the PV in a later video. But for now, I think this was a great introduction to the new Bluetti AC240 as well as the B210. So if you like this content and you want to see future videos on this, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.